ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WBM podcast. This is one of your hosts. It's your boy Merk.
And you know who this is, your boy Xfer.
And this is your boy Tico in the mix.
In the mix. Tell him, Merk.
Guys, we have a wonderful guest interview for you guys
We
today.
have assumed position with...
Kevin over here.
Mikey over here.
Yeah.
That's right, guys, and we are here live at Anime Dallas. So, we're going to sit down, have a quick discussion with these guys, and figure out what makes them tick in their podcast.
Sounds good.
All right, let's get it.
Let's do it.
Let's go!
All right, here we go. Again, I want to preface the episode where we are live at Anime Dallas 2023, so there might be a little bit of background noise.
That's how you know it's live.
But yeah, because we're at the con, at our podcast room, so you might hear a little bit of background noise. But again, we're here with Assuming Positions Podcast.
Yeah.
Man, I gotta say, you guys got a good band. I don't know how you fit them all in here.
Oh, bro. You'd be surprised if we could fit in the bag.
No, that live intro, that's amazing. I'm super jealous now. Now I know how to level up my game.
That's it, buddy. So, guys, what put you guys into podcasting originally?
Who wants to take it?
Go, I want to hear what you have to say about it.
Yeah, you usually get the story on the
Yeah.
podcast. Well, we are both ourselves just podcast fans. We listen to them all day at work. That's the sort of the easy to background music, you know.
Right, right.
Learn something while you're working.
Yep.
But we sort of sniffed each other. Kevin sniffed me out. And he's like, that Mikey smells like a nerd a little bit.
Yeah, my nerd dar went off.
But that was our first conversation. It's like, what are you listening to at work? It's like, oh, I'm listening to podcasts. It's like, oh, what podcast do you listen to? And we had a bunch of overlap, the Nerdists and stuff, some of the earlier ones. And then that turned into friendship and hanging out and tabletop RPG. And then
Nice.
the conversations while we were doing all that stuff is like, well, if we put microphones in front of it, might sound like a podcast.
Right.
So kicked off into that was sort of the origin story for that one.
Yeah, we
Nice.
went out. We'd go out for lunch because we would work at the same place. We'd go out for lunch and we'd be sitting there and we'd start getting into these like nerd debates and everything. And, you know, everything. It was always really the thing about us is that we can argue with each other and still be super cordial and nice.
Right.
So it ended up not even ending up sounding like a debate. It would just sound like a nice conversation.
Yep.
And I was like, man, if this had microphones in front of it, this would be a podcast.
Yeah.
So then we literally started, his apartment was close enough to our work that we literally started going to his apartment at lunchtime and then just,
Oh, damn,
and then
really?
just recording instead of, you know, we
Yeah,
just
it was a
literally-
hardcore deadline because it
Yeah.
was like, we have an hour for lunch.
Let's knock this out.
Yeah.
We'll talk about something for 42 minutes and then we got to drive back or something, you know.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was
It's got to
like,
give us enough drive time.
Yeah.
that was like 4 years ago, right?
It was 2018, 2019, yeah.
Wow.
Almost
guys.
300 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you guys
300
started...
episodes?
300 episodes.
Wow. That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's good.
Weekly podcast.
That's
Yep.
good.
Podcast.
And when you guys first met each other and having that conversation, what genres overlap were you guys were into when you heard podcasts?
Like, well, we both listened to the Nerdist back when that was a thing that just had Chris Hardwick on it and his two buddies.
Yep. That was like the OG like nerd culture
Yeah.
podcast. And a little bit where that positivity comes from because they were sort of that first gen of like not just it wasn't a podcast, it was like this sucks or like here's why this is scandalous or bad. So that was one of the OGs, but
Yeah.
Nerdist.
And I think didn't we listen to Rogan before he turned into Rogan?
A little bit of Rogan, but
Early days of Rogan.
The Cool Rogan, the conspiracy
Yeah.
Rogan.
and a lot of those early podcasts were stand-up comedians. It was like
Yeah,
Pete
yeah, yeah.
Holmes.
Yeah,
Joe
Pete Holmes.
Rogan,
We used to listen to Pete Holmes.
Tom Segura and Your Mom's House.
Yeah.
Like stand-up comedy was a big factor in it too.
Right.
But then once he said Star Wars, and then once I said Dragonlance or something, it might have been video games. It was like, oh,
Gotcha.
there's a deeper nerd pool here. But it is video games and like nerd media, like Star Wars in general,
Yeah.
Marvel, comic books.
We're both older nerds. I'm a Gen
yeah,
X
yeah.
nerd, and you know he's a millennial,
Yeah.
but he has older siblings, so he leans into the older generation.
Yep.
So you know all the like games and stuff that his brother and sister had, he experienced even though he was younger.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of crossover and interests, even though he's almost 10 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
But
You wouldn't know it.
but it was one of those things where we were like, oh man, we like all the same stuff. This is crazy. So now we're buddies and hang out all the time.
Were there topics that you introduced to each other that you guys weren't familiar with, and like, man, I wasn't sure I liked this kind of stuff, but thanks to you, I like this kind of genre or this new kind of.
Did he change your position?
Yeah, and then Ayo.
We have that somewhere. But anyway.
Well, it's a really cool thing, because the reason why our podcast focuses on positivity is, one, because we didn't start out that way. We started out just talking about stuff.
Right.
But I used to be kind of one of those toxic fans. I was one of those Star Wars guys who thought the prequels can flush down the toilet. And
Whoa.
And
Hold on, let him cook. He's seasoning.
No, I was one of those toxic fans in a lot of ways. One of those basement dwelling, like, push up my glasses, like, meh. And that was getting a lot of play in media too. I mean, if you go on YouTube, like, almost every little tile is like, "Why this sucks?" They ruined it. Stuff like that. And I was kind of like, "Yeah, they ruined it." But Mikey's like he's just a real positive dude.
Mm-hmm.
And in talking to him, and he's like, "No, I like the prequels. This is a good thing about this. This is a good thing about that." He started to like convert me almost. It was almost like I'm a born again nerd. So that's when we realized, I was like, man, if Mikey can convert me over, maybe we can like get this out here and see if we can just bring positivity to fandom, and then we kind of started actively trying to be like, let's fight this, because when we come out to cons and stuff, we talk to people, they get really passionate about like, that is bad. I don't like that people are angry about stuff all the time.
Yeah.
That's not cool. So like literally today, our panel is called Positrons Unite. Our fans are called Positrons.
Oh, cool, man. I like that.
People, yeah. And it's literally just kind of it's almost our mission statement in a way. We talk about what toxic fans are, the most common ones, and then like what you can do to not fall into those traps. Because that's the thing, you just kind of fall into the trap.
Yeah,
of like,
absolutely.
Without
The hate.
Yeah.
It just looks cool sometimes.
Yeah,
know?
it's easy to be
quote
negative,
unquote,
right?
Yeah.
It's easy. You get more play. You get more way more play on Twitter and social media if you say something controversial.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
I mean, I can tell you right now, we don't. Our biggest problem is that we're too nice. Like, we don't get a lot of people. We put out stuff, and there's not a lot of people who are going to jump on us.
Yeah.
Which is why people put out controversial stuff, because they know that the comments will go super long.
Yeah, it's the easier engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people online just want to argue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy. One thing. What is it? That one rule that you put out there? You put the wrong guy's name.
Yeah. To get the right answer on the internet, you got to put the wrong answer first. So you don't ask, what is Darwin's law? You say Darwin's law is something wrong, and somebody will be, no, that's not right. The right answer.
Actually.
So that's the rule. No, that's something that you guys talk about positivity, because we do a lot of reviews on our podcast, and we always give like 9.2, 9.3.
We have yet to rate something bad. I think like
Even
the
if I
7
don't
is the
like
lowest.
it, I'm like, I feel so bad because they work so hard in the hours. I know it's stressful. That's 7.9. You know?
Like,
I know, yeah.
like a 7-ish is like
So
the lowest.
our scale is like really messed up.
Yeah.
Because we give, like, we always find something better. So like, but we gave that a 9, and this is still a 9.
Yeah.
But that's one, you're talking about things you like, and that always transfers across. Like you're putting out that energy. But we have the most arbitrary, nonsensical rating system, which is we give things pizza slices.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So if it's really good, it gets 8 slices, a full pizza,
Right.
and add on the toppings. But depending on what we're talking about, those toppings change, the number of slices change, and it's usually fairly nice because we talk about the things we like you guys.
Right.
We hate being too mean. But it's pizza slices, and it's
It
always good, but it's always the most random.
We love how arbitrary it is. Rotten Tomatoes would never be able to figure out what we thought
What
of
the hell we
something.
put?
Because sometimes we go so off the rails. Like, we'll go into the how it was delivered.
Oh, wow.
We'll be like, this is a 7 slicer with all the toppings, but it came kind of cold. You know,
That's a good one.
I can see how
That's
that could
good.
work.
That's good.
and sometimes if we really like stuff, we'll add on some cheesy bread.
Oh, yeah. Came with wings. Left the soda. It was
And the
awesome.
bonus brownie, just heard.
Hey.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You put an ice cream sandwich on something once.
I forget. It was
Oof.
something really, really good.
It had to.
Damn, I
It
know,
might
right?
have been the first Mando when the Mando first came out.
Oh.
Season 1 of Mando? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mandalorian.
Can I ask you guys, like, what's the favorite part of, like, the new Star Wars stuff that's came out for you? What's, like, your thing that you're like, I'm really happy that this came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I super enjoy the Andor series. I
Man, it
think
was
that
so good.
Andor
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
fire.
Andor was-
Yeah. So good.
because
The politics, the talking.
yeah.
The espionage. Like I was at the edge of my seat. I feel like, dude, I never had that feeling since Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
So I was so into it.
It was really good.
It's like a bank heist that turned into like political, that turned into a prison
bro.
break,
Yeah.
that turned into like uprising. It was
Yeah.
it was awesome
Because they
man.
broke it into chapters, so every 3 episodes for like a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they really did.
I liked it a lot, especially since it's like there's no. It's more the like regular people. There's not a lot of Jedi.
Yeah, not very many
You
lightsabers.
know,
right?
So it's and then it's like look, you can do politics in Star Wars. It's
And very well.
yeah.
It was so good. It was like that neck on neck. Like, nah, she's not good enough. Like, I'm your higher rank, and just those little bickering. But the high, not well, it wasn't bickering. Well, it was bickering, but at a high level per se. It was like I paid attention to everything they said. That's how I
Yeah.
know it's good writing because I paid attention.
Yeah.
It was that one monologue that really got me in the series, obviously, too. I can't remember the character or the actor's name, but he was just like, you want to talk about sacrifice? He's like, I burned myself for the freedom that I'll never see. And I'm like,
yeah.
so
I
good.
forgot about that. That was
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, for me, I was like, yeah, it's an amazing series. I really
What's
enjoyed
your opinions on that? I don't know. I'm sure you guys have heard the transition that Kathleen Kennedy's out, and Filoni will be taking.
Yeah, Filoni's going to be the new
the GOAT. Yeah, that guy.
director of creative something. They give it a title.
We've spoken his praises numerous times. We are a big Filoni heads, Filoni fans.
Oh, thank God.
Filoni-ites, yeah.
Yeah, Clone Wars,
Filoni,
and
yeah.
Ahsoka,
And Filoni, we trust.
and
Yeah,
Filoni.
buddy, we
we
trust.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I mean,
Filoni,
he's literally George Lucas's Padawan.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
we-
how I saw
yeah.
it.
We
Like
eventually
George's
talked about
Yoda
Yeah.
and Filoni's Luke. You
Because
know?
Yeah.
no, yeah, he'll be sitting there, and he's the only one at Lucasfilm that who has a public face at least. He'll sit there and he'll be like, "Yeah, George told me," and then he'll like go to say something obscure that no one ever. And it's like,
Yeah.
and you know that he still has, he can call George up, and George won't. He'll be like, "Oh, hey, Dave, how's it going?"
Yeah, and they'll have it like
Yeah.
it's nothing, like they've never
Yeah.
pissed off, for real.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's the smartest thing. We've been calling for them to do that for how many? Forever.
It's just Clone Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
He just knows, and he won me over. I don't know if you guys saw when he was at
I was just about to say this.
yeah, right. When he was at the Star Wars celebration they had over in Europe, and he came out there, and he like took off his hat, and he has a full head of hair. Why does he wear a hat all that?
Yeah, he's got the cowboy hat, yeah.
he took off his hat to the fans, and he started like crying because
Oh,
like
man.
because he's like so much love, and he's like, I love you guys. He goes, if I wasn't doing this, I'd be out there standing next to you wearing a robe, holding a lightsaber.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
That's
said
so
that?
cool,
Yeah.
bro. That is so cool.
You know,
man.
and he's tearing up and stuff, and I'm like, man, that's one of us
Yeah.
Yes.
right there.
Yeah.
You know, the nerd is in the seat.
Making
The un-
himself
yeah.
fully vulnerable
Yeah.
in front of the entire internet.
Yeah.
Sketch, risky move.
Do y'all have like a theory or a vision where Filoni's taking this?
Yeah.
In a galaxy far, far away.
I guess actually.
Yeah, he's doing too that thing he did with Ahsoka was really, really clever.
Oh yeah.
Like, so people don't have to ask where are these people in the sequels. Well, they're in a whole nother galaxy.
Yeah.
And then he can run off and do stuff in a whole nother galaxy and not mess anything
Yeah.
up. And they do seem to be trying to connect the missing parts in between and it seems like he's trying to like make the sequels make sense, because a lot of that stuff was a lot of the stumble that they did is if you read those books that came out and then saw the sequels made sense.
Yes, absolutely.
They put a lot of
the
stuff
whole
in-
Thrawn and everything. The whole
They put a lot of
sequel,
stuff in books.
Yeah.
Like what was
Thrawn for sure.
what was that series? What's it called?
There's
The
no-
Wendig series?
No, they
Chuck
say
Wendig's
They
books.
say it the new heir to the empire or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heir to
Rise of
Empire.
Yeah, those Chuck Wendig books had all the
Yeah.
the information about like, you know, like when they like used the that hyperspace weapon to blow up all those systems. Everyone's like, "What is happening?" But if you read the Chuck Wendig books, it was all in there. It's like, make people read books to
Yeah,
You
man, you
know?
got some real diehard fans. Like,
Yeah.
I'm assuming you guys who read the books, obviously, but like kids would
Yeah,
never
so,
pick up the
yeah.
book and be like, I don't get it.
Yeah. But it seems like I think he's going to be trying to like fix that now, so you can like watch it. So that when you go through, you know,
Yeah, it all fits together into one big piece. Because that, for me, that's what Filoni seems to hit on too. Like he started in the cartoons, he started with Clone Wars and Rebels, you know. But within both of those, there's so much like extra stuff and world building and little details that he puts in there so he can tie everything together. Because going back to the like Padawan, George Lucas's Yoda type thing,
Yeah.
old Star Wars was really big on the ties that bind and like echoes and repeats throughout time. He loves a repeating theme. It's very poetic. It's like, oh, this is happening again.
Right.
Filoni, I think, picks up on those two things. He loves the ties that are between the characters, whether they're good or bad, good and good, bad and bad. He loves the connection between people, and he loves the repetition of not like, I guess it's choices, but it's just the consequence or the rise of the resistance on both sides.
Yeah.
He loves the repetition of theme that I think he got from Lucas. So I think that's where he's taking it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do look forward to where he's taking it, man. Like my theory is like he's like that you said, expanding to another universe, completely letting it go of the you know what didn't work out for Disney, and pretty much hey, let's focus on Ahsoka, on Ezra from here on out, because from what I'm understanding is like Ahsoka is like pretty much Filoni's Obi, and Ezra will be his Luke. And and it makes sense to who George is like the best person to talk to about, hey, how do I build this? Obviously, it's his baby. Yeah. And I figure like Spielberg would be his Anakin or something.
That makes sense on multiple levels. I like that metaphor.
Yeah. Well, see, I really enjoy the Star Wars series that we're branching off into different parts now, because Star Wars was always so much bigger than just the Skywalkers. You know, there were so many more stories and so many more characters that got shine in the books, right? If I'm not mistaken, that it just didn't revolve around them. But yet now we got nine movies, all simply revolving around the Skywalkers. Period.
Yeah, man.
That's one of the things Kevin said about Andor is that it's non-Jedi. Like, is one of the things that works so well for it. Like, it's still there because it's still Star Wars, but out of the newest Star Wars,
Gotcha.
That's the low magic of Star Wars, as far as Jedi goes.
100%.
It had a whole different feeling.
Yeah.
Kind of like Rogue One.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And with stuff like with Ahsoka and all that, we're getting like the Tusken Raiders backstories, and we're getting
Oh, that was so cool.
So like,
why did I feel sad for them in the end?
I did feel bad.
Damn.
And Boba Fett gets that whole world. So like with that,
I was doing the dance. My bed.
I want to go make my own Jaffa stick, man.
Now you know how.
Yeah.
That whole lore was so cool.
See,
That was.
And that's Filoni, I really do think. I think because of what he's doing and what he did in all the cartoons, he's like, no, I have books that I wrote. Like, I have all these characters and I have to use them all.
Yeah.
And they all fit together. It's so cool. I don't know.
It does well, man. It really does. I was like, I went from I hate the sand to damn those sand people, bro. It was good. It was really good.
You slaughtered them like animals.
Not just the men, but the women and children too.
That's okay, Annie. I'll still date you.
Yeah, bro. It was like, yes,
We all have
get
bad
it.
days.
I get it.
It's cool. I'll just die because I'm real sad later.
Padme fell into the trap a lot of women do. Of like, I can change him.
She loves that
absolutely.
toxic relationship.
Here at the con, we realize how much of that there is, bro. Like, golly, these women are like, we love Aaron Yeager. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
All of them.
I know.
All of them. We're like, golly.
He did nothing wrong.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
Y'all watch? Did y'all watch? You guys watch anime? You guys are into anime?
Yeah. I'm actually like an old head anime guy. From like way back, and it's we talk about it all the time because it's a kind of funny story. It's that, as you guys know, being from Texas, that there's two giant dubbing studios, one in Houston and one in Dallas.
Right.
Yeah.
So Texas just has voice actors like crazy.
Yeah.
So almost the majority of the conventions, the nerd conventions that happen in Texas, are anime conventions. So when we started going out to conventions and doing stuff, it's like, oh, there's all these anime conventions. It's like, I was like, yeah, that's cool. I know all about anime. I used to watch tons of it in the 90s.
Oh, buddy.
In the 90s. Yeah. And then I show up and I'm like, hey, you guys like Bubblegum Crisis and Ranma and Half. And,
Ranma and a half.
And I'm like, and I'm like, what about Vampire Hunter D? And everyone's like, what are you talking about, old man?
I was about to keep dropping names. Escaflowne. Let's keep going.
they're like, and what's funny is a lot of the older voice actors, know that stuff because they worked on it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's so
back
cool,
in the
man.
day. So they're like, oh, that's awesome. But a lot of the kids, the people we want listening to the podcast, they're like, talk about One Piece. And I'm like, I haven't really watched One Piece and all, you know?
But that's the benefit of it. I mean, that's part of what we talk about on the podcast and what we're doing ourselves is that we are old anime heads. So all of our like the things we know and love, we do love anime, but they're from a different time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But coming out here, it's cool to see so many people excited about so many different properties, and it really is like the easiest snapshot to be like, oh, there's this many cosplay. So what is this property? And if I don't know about it, we go check it out. You know. So we've been having a blast catching up. We just going through the great stuff that we're coming to a little bit later, but like Chainsaw Man and One Piece, they're classics of a new generation.
Yeah, the new generation. Yeah.
So it's fun to get into it that way.
But honestly, they are like this youth. Like I do try to tell them, like, man, y'all missing out because the Bubblegum Crisis was really good.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of them. Escaflowne Ramen and a Half is silly. It's one of the funniest ones.
Yeah.
You know, the
It's
girl
really
turning
good.
boy. Yeah. So I used to watch those too back in the day. Yeah. So I know exactly what you're talking about. Saint Seiya was also back in the 90s. Like, so it's hard to explain.
Early
Like,
90s.
especially with technology nowadays, there's going to be very difficult for them because of they're spoiled with all the fast action.
Yeah.
But man, like the story lore doesn't change. You know?
right.
Yeah.
You know, and we noticed, like, so we started getting into this, like I'm wearing my Attack on Titan little wristband
Yeah,
here.
buddy.
Because Attack on Titan's great, and it was one of those things where when we first started going to cons, one of the first ones we ever went to was A-Con, and that was like 2018, 2019, something like that. And
there was so much cosplay.
Yeah, there
for it.
was so much Attack on Titan stuff, and we're like, what the heck is this? So we started looking into it, and so I started watching it with my kids, and I mean, it's good. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah.
But all because we were like, those jackets look so cool.
Yeah, it's funny,
With the,
man.
with
Cool
the crest and the
uniforms.
wings.
They
You
had
know, it's
really
like,
good
what's that
uniform.
I actually got into it the first season before because I dropped it. So the very first time I saw it before you recommended Tico, I liked it because of the jacket. So I was in that same boat, yeah. But then I dropped it, but he convinced me to pick it up again, and it was worth to pick up.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, absolutely. I actually took a long, hard break, like 70 years from anime. I didn't watch anything, and then when I came back, started hanging out with these guys again. They were like, this guy was putting me on everything. He's like, you haven't seen Attack on Titan, bro? It's amazing. You haven't seen Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like all these great animes in comparison. But did you guys like the finale for Attack on Titan?
So I haven't watched it yet.
Oh no,
You got time. It's good.
yeah,
I
you
haven't
do
watched
have
it yet.
time.
Yeah.
There's all the spoilers out there.
Yeah, no.
Like, don't lose your head over it.
Yeah.
Hey!
I basically I kind of have an inkling, but I haven't watched it yet. But I'll tell you though that like when we first started doing stuff, what we were super familiar with that was modern and all was the Ghibli stuff.
Yeah.
So
Oh, Ghibli,
So we did a little bit of that at first, and then started getting into the things. But we really enjoyed Chainsaw Man, and one of the things I don't know if you guys know is if you have watched older anime, Chainsaw Man, because it's set in the 90s. There's a lot. They kind of do a lot of stuff that's like a '90s anime. A lot of the way it's shot, and a lot of the,
Like the visuals and stuff.
a lot of the visuals. I noticed it when I was watching it. Like I was like,
I'm going to
wow.
rewatch it now. Thank you so much for that.
I was like,
New perspective.
I didn't
I
watch it
think
with
that's
that
one of the
lens.
reasons why I liked it so much because it felt like because it's set in the 90s. So I think they were doing something that a lot of people didn't notice that I noticed, that it kind of feels like an anime in the 90s. I think they tried to, since it was set then, I think they tried to kind of make it sort of like that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to rewatch it now because I
So-
never thought about that.
Yeah.
And that opening for Chainsaw Man references a lot of movies.
I was just about
Yeah.
like a bunch
Yeah.
of 90 movies, right?
There's
Yeah.
More Dogs and
Pulp
Yeah.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction.
yeah.
That's it.
That's for me, and for me,
Ray
that's
Lebowski, right?
the I think
Yeah, they
I
go
love that
forward.
movie.
that's the top theme for me. The Chainsaw Man theme.
Yeah.
I think we're
Oh yeah,
yeah.
and the OP.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so good.
I never
Dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
I never hit skip on that ever.
Yeah. Do you want
You turn it up.
Replay it again. And one of the things I was gonna say, all the newer anime and like the younger generation, like that haven't watched a lot of the old anime, sometimes don't appreciate all those references.
Yeah.
Because in new anime, there's a lot of references to the older ones.
Yeah,
Like
there
for
is.
example, Evangelion gets referenced in like a bunch of animes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched Evangelion, I'm sure
That's
lot of
a
people-
good cult classic.
yeah,
one.
that one
yeah,
came
yeah.
out in like
90s.
99.
Yeah.
98. Yeah.
Too
But
much
yeah,
too much drama for me though. Evangelion.
Yeah.
But you do get the giant robots and ships and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just
I wonder if like at one point it gets too meta, like and not enough to the lore.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
But Mecha animes always have sad endings. We just found that out from a fan the other day. We're like, oh my god, they do have a lot of sad
Well, all
endings, bro.
Gundam animes.
Except,
have
Wish
sad
of
endings.
Mercury, the new one that just
The new
came
one,
out.
but all Gundam animes all
Yeah,
had
all
sad
sad
endings.
endings,
They had
bro.
kids in wars and stuff.
Yeah, 14-year-olds like committing war crimes. Like it was terrible.
The meme I saw about mecha anime the other day was that if the mecha anime doesn't make you care about a robot, then it's failing.
Yeah, right.
If
Exactly.
you're not crying for the robot at the end. It's like,
Bro.
wait, I'm crying about a giant robot. What's
It's true.
happening?
Like when I started seeing Wing Zero get shot to pieces, I'm like, no.
Why did he get destroyed?
Yeah, bro. He shot him in the eye. How is he gonna? Wait, he's a robot.
The camera's on top. Oh, man.
No, man. But I gotta ask. So you're an old school game head, right?
Mhm.
What was one of the first systems that you ended up playing on?
Oh, well, I started off on original Nintendo only because of my brother. So my brother, I guess it was my dad. My parents were like, hey, these seem cool. We'll get it for the family. Because I grew up with older brother, older sister, me.
So like Duck Hunt.
Yeah, Duck
Oh,
Hunt.
sweet.
Actually, and Atari too, because we had Pitfall. I remember
Damn,
playing.
man, you had Atari?
Yeah.
Wow.
But for me, as soon as I got like my system that I love was the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance, like that handheld Nintendo generation. That was
Yeah, man, you're
That
not
was me.
wrong. I
Yeah.
had that. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Game Boy and the Game Boy Advance for me were like I spent hours, so many batteries I went through, so many late nights, just like where I should have been in bed and I couldn't put Pokemon down or whatever the hell it was. You know?
it was Pokemon, it was Breath of Fire, it was tiny little RPGs that I could just have in my pocket. Oh, that was the end for me as
You're
far
right.
as video games go.
100%. I gotta agree with that.
Do you?
How about you, man? Were you like? Any,
I'm old, so we
Even
had,
older.
I'm even older, and my dad used to work for Centronics, which is I don't know if any really old people out there, but they made these printers called dot matrix printers, and they're the ones that go.
Oh yeah.
They still even use them today because when they need to go through one of those things that has like 3 pieces of paper.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what those.
But the cable that literally hooks that up to a computer is called a Centronics cable, named after the company my dad worked for. So
Yeah,
my dad in the 80s was a guy who was way ahead of his time in computers and stuff. So we always had a PC in my house since like the early 80s.
Damn, so you're an old school
That's
PC
it.
gamer?
Yeah, we had
Oh.
and then he loved all this stuff too, and he would buy it for me, quote unquote.
For himself. Yes.
So we had the OG Atari and then everything that started coming out, the Nintendo, everything, and then also the PC stuff that he built his own PCs.
Oh,
Back
he's
in the
way
day,
ahead of his time.
we spent time in Radio Shack so much because he was always buying stuff and building stuff.
Is this on clearance?
So yeah, we had a Trash 80 from the Radio Shack.
Wait,
We're
World
older
Radio
kids
Shack.
That was the competitor.
Radio
Radio
Shack is
Shack.
an electronics store.
It was called the TRS 80. We called it the Trash 80.
Before
It was-
Best Buy.
Yeah,
Before Best
right.
Buy.
So it was
They
a.
used to have them at the malls.
Yeah, man.
And now the malls are.
So yeah, we even.
Online.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen War Games with Matthew Broderick. Is that Matthew
Oh,
Broderick?
yeah.
Yeah.
Would you like
You know,
to play?
The only play to win,
When-
Professor, is not to play.
When he hacks into his school to change his grades.
Oh, yeah.
He uses that thing where you take the phone off and put it on that's the modem. You take the phone receiver off and put it. We had one of those.
Wow.
And I remember my dad was like, hey, I was talking to some guy in Russia. I hope I don't get in trouble. Because it was like that during
back
the 80s.
in the day, yeah.
Oh, bro, that's crazy.
I was like, Dad, what are you doing?
It was
over
Vladimir.
there?" Yeah.
Long distance phone calls back then.
Hi.
Yeah, but no, like I started off playing those word games that are like, you're in a 10 by 10 by 10 room, and it's like
Oh.
you just put like, look around, enter.
Go forward.
Oh, gotcha.
You just walked into a wall.
Yeah,
Damn it.
yeah. It's just your imagination. It was an
Yeah.
imagination video game.
The vampires
That's cool.
won.
Yeah, I was way nerdy back in the day.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And it's something we still try to keep up with because we're still on Xbox and PS4s
Yeah.
and 5s.
Yeah, I haven't even. You guys got a PS5?
No,
So,
I'm
no.
I'm
not.
about to say, I'm not even there yet,
Me
man.
neither.
Yeah.
Now we were running a Red Dead posse for a while.
Yep.
Oh,
And,
cool, man.
And we do this thing on our podcast. Promote, Kevin. Promote the podcast. We do these things called Build a Cruise, and we will. Mikey and I will pick an archetype, and then we will pick someone from fiction or even real life to fit that archetype. We'll pick our top 3 and our top 1 who's going into the crew.
Building our fantasy team. to
Yeah, we're
do-
building a fantasy team.
like a heist, or this one was specifically about cowboys. Like
yeah, we did
building a posse.
We built.
that's cool.
One of our fans wrote in. They're like, "You guys talk about Red Dead a lot. You should do Build a Posse." So we had to pick like the lawman that's in it, the preacher that's in it, the soiled dove that's in it,
Yep.
and the doctor that's in it.
Wow, man.
So we each get to pick one. We come with our top 3 and then our top 1. And we started off doing it as head of the class,
Yeah.
where we made a Dungeons and Dragons team.
We built our party.
We
Like,
built the party. Yeah.
if you're taking all movies or all TV shows or all video games, and you have to pick who's your favorite barbarian or who's your favorite
Yeah.
elf or rogue, like
Oh,
those
Yeah.
type of archetypes. It was a fun thought experiment, and it was the fun one. Like, so pick from Star Wars. Like, if you had only Star Wars characters and you had to pick one to be the leader of the group, who do you pick? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Gotcha.
cool.
Darth.
Is it Obi-Wan? Is it
Yeah.
Darth? You know, do
Yeah.
you go evil?
Yeah.
So we've done tons of those. Our fans really like the builders.
Yeah, but our
So-
latest one was just because we were playing Red Dead so much.
Was Build a Posse.
That is
That's one of our
pretty
favorite
cool.
favorite
that's a
newest
cool
games.
concept.
We've done the Dungeons and Dragons classes.
Mhm.
We've done the
Sci-fi crew.
so we've done a sci-fi crew, a spaceship crew.
We built a sitcom family.
we built the sitcom family. That was
That's
crazy.
awesome. Who was the dad?
So I forget who was my dad was.
I believe my dad was the dad from Wonder Years, if I ever remember correctly, from Kevin Arnold's dad. I'm not sure.
I can't even remember. We did that a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, we did one time. We went totally off the rails. Our producer got really mad at us. He's like, "That's the weirdest one you did." We did Build a Lunch. We built the ultimate school lunch.
with the best snack pack, with the best crackers, the best drink, and the best sandwich. It was a great time.
You know what's
That's
funny
funny.
is that I do have like a rating for that in my head too.
See?
There's- yeah,
See,
there's something
everyone's
I'm-
got it. Everyone's
like-
got it.
The guy who just gets like the bologna sandwich, you're like, nah, bro, that's not the best sandwich.
Yeah.
Come on, bro.
See, everyone's got it.
Yeah, that's
I mean, we
hilarious.
just bonded over Star Wars. We had to do the sniff test. Like, what Star Wars do you like? Like,
That's true.
we all agree that Star Wars is good, but it's also like, where do you rank this one?
With trilogy, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fun. That's the whole point. It's the fun thought experiment because
Yeah.
everybody
Yeah.
does it to a little bit. It's like,
That's
I like
true.
this one a little bit better.
That is
Mhm.
very, very cool, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hate to cut this short, but we still got to keep it going with you guys next. So,
It'll be fun.
guys, thank you so much for coming to our podcast.
yeah.
You guys want to drop your socials and where people can find you at?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find us at Assuming Pod on all the social medias. I used to list them off, but then Twitter keeps changing its name to other things. You can also hit us up on Gmail, assumingpositions@gmail.com. If you want to support what we do, we got Buy Me a Coffee.
Yes,
You
we
can-
do.
Buy Me Coffee /AssumingPod. Everything's a /AssumingPod.
That's it.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, you can check us out. We're on everything where podcasts are free.
Yeah, anywhere you can find podcasts, pretty much. Spotify, Google Play,
Yeah.
Audible.
I think we're listed on like 14
Yeah.
podcast services.
Yep.
Oh, man. Damn,
So-
that's what's up.
It's easy to find.
All right, boys. Well, thank you so much again. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys.
This has been the WBN podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Merc. Please make sure you guys are following us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all at WBM_podcast.
And this is XFed. Once again, thank you guys for stopping the podcast. This is XFed. Make sure this is Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher, all that jazz.
And this is your boy Tico in the mix.
In the mix.
One more time, check out the website, WBMpodcast.com. You can send in your topics to the boys at WBMpodcast.com.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Live from Anime Dallas 2023.
we out here. Guys, we'll see you in the next one.
We out.
Peace.